What's up, y'all? It's your boy Jsitez, and in today's tutorial, I'm about to teach y'all how to create this little glass effect that you see on my screen. This shit is tough, it's easy, so let's lock in. Alright, so in After Effects, I'm just gonna find a part in my video, where I wanna cut, do the regular, and once you have your clip ready, just duplicate it, right? And then you wanna double click it, grab the Rotoscope tool, and let's make a nice little sloppy mask around our subject. Alright, once you finish your roto, just duplicate it and press invert. This is going to be a background. This is going to be a foreground. Just name it. Name the front one FG and rename the background BG. And let's just freeze those. Freeze the background. Alright, now for the foreground, which is the subject, let's freeze them. Once we freeze the subject, we're going to add refine soft matte, and we're going to change the additional edge radius to 6 and the smooth to about 12 and the feather 9. And for the background, we're just gonna shift the edge -100, and let's just copy that refined edge to this layer, and let's just bring down the values a little bit. Maybe make the smooth 8, make the feather about 4, and let's just keep the additional edge the same. So now with the background selected, we're gonna solo it, and we're just gonna start making our plate layer. I'm gonna come over here to content aware fill. If you don't see it, just come to window, content aware fill. All right, boom. So now I'm gonna hit object, light correction checked, strong, and make sure the range is set to work area. Now just hit generate fill and wait for that fill to finish doing what it's doing. All right, so now we have a content aware fill layer and we have our background. I like to keep things organized, so I'm just gonna pre-compose both of those layers. Call it OFBG, right, for official background. And now you have your foreground, and your background, yeah, situated. All right, so now we wanna take the foreground, and this is where we're gonna make that little matte layer to fake the occlusion layer. For the effect, for the final effect, I'm gonna use the occlusion layer, but I'm gonna show you that this works. Let me put this out. Oh my goodness, we got smoke in the camera. Goodness gracious. So on the layer with the foreground, you wanna add fine edges, you wanna add tint, and you wanna add curves. When you add the curves, you bring the curves down so you can show like the black lines a little more. I'm gonna use Gaussian blur, maybe up to like 4 or 5%. I'm gonna take this matte, pre-compose it, call it matte, and just bring it down to the bottom and turn it off. So for the first adjustment layer, this is basically messing with the background. We're gonna add some chromatic aberration without using the chromatic aberration effect. I'm using Sapphire, so make sure you guys have Sapphire for this. So on the first adjustment layer, you're gonna add the warp chroma, and on the warp chroma, you're gonna make the steps 3. And since the camera's moving, we're gonna have to keyframe the center subject. So I'm gonna click the time watch, take this little tool right here, and click that little box in the middle, my favorite box, and go like 4 frames each. Make sure you use warp waves too. Change the amplitude to -0.05. Make the frequency like 0.1 because I don't want too much of this waves going on here. The reason why I didn't set any of the mattes yet is because I really want to see like what's going on in the clip. You feel what I'm saying? So really, you can adjust these to your liking, but just 0.1 and -0.5 gives you this. It's very subtle once you change the matte. So on both of your layers, right, your warp wave and your warp chroma, come to the matte from layers and just change it to that matte that we just made. And now you see, you got the background there, right? It's kind of wavy in the back. So now we're gonna add one more adjustment layer, and this is gonna be a distort chroma layer. And on that layer, you just wanna make sure your lens and the matte from path coming from your 6th layer, in my case, and make sure you have effects and mask also enabled. Keep the amount at 1. Make sure the blur lens is at 27%. And play with the rotation. Mine is at 52, but you can either keyframe it depending on if you want some movement. Now the reason why I did it like this was because I wanted you guys to actually get a chance to do this, but let me just show you guys how this works when you use Switchlight. So if you already have Switchlight installed, all you gotta do is just render out a PNG sequence of your clip. And when you render out that PNG sequence, you just gotta run it through the PBR extraction that you have from the Switchlight software, and then you just have to bring it back in, interpret the footage, and when you interpret the footage, you drag it over your clip, and you have to add a couple of effects. If you look at my screen right here, I have these effects listed. I'm just blowing through this real quick because I ran through this in my last tutorial. So if you want to learn how to use occlusion maps, you could just hit the link right here and you'll learn. But once you have the clip ready to use and you have the effects ready, you just put it to the bottom of your sequence and you just use it the same way you use the other map. You go to your first adjustment layer and you change the mats on both effects in there, and you also do the same for the distort chroma adjustment layer. And yeah, in my opinion, it looks better. I'm not even gonna lie to you, but look, I really want y'all to, you know, get sauced up, you know what I'm saying? So I had to show y'all that way. But yeah, but yo, I'm glad I made that easier for y'all. Hopefully you guys take the time out to start using mats and stuff like that, you feel me? If you like this effect, man, drop a like, comment, subscribe, and I'm definitely gonna be back with another one.
Jsitez, baby.